Get your daily dose of inspiration through our music. Follow JustCom PH on Spotify and JustCom Music on YouTube.
Follow at Radyo Katipunan in our social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng kwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugod, todo sa kayod, dunong at tulog. Lipat na Blue Eagle, kaning giting nagigil. Blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan.
Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng kwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugod, todo sa kayod, tunong at tulong. Lipat na Blue Eagle, galing giting at tigil. Blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Radyo, Katipunan.
Welcome to The Rundown, where we take you right into the action with the latest sports news, updates, game previews, breakdown, and analysis in, around, across, and beyond the Ateneo. And now, let's get ready to run down!
Alright, what is up, Blue Eagle Nation? Kanina, usapang pandemic. Ngayon, usapang basketball na muna tayo. Welcome to Katipunan Crossover, only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM, the voice of the Blue Eagle. And reminder lang po no, sa ating mga listeners, followers, viewers dito sa ating FB live stream, we are also streaming via Twitter through Periscope. So check out nyo lang po yun. As always, kasama ko dito pag hoop talk on Radyo Katipunan from the maroon side of Katipunan. Kaya siya naka-red ngayon. Javi Pelania. Javi, bago tayo mag-start, may rest back ako ngayon. May teammate ako ngayon na tenista rin. Ang kasama ko ngayon, former Ateneo Blue Eagle, nag-TNT, alam ko nag-Kia pa to eh, nag-Kia, nag-Alab Pilipinas, most recently, nag-Bacoor City Strikers sa MPBL, isa sa favorite students ng dad ko. Ah, Hoping Sumalinog. Maayong hapon, Hoping.
Ayong hapon, Anton. May hapon ay Javi.
Okay. So, Hoping, no, kami ni Javi dito pag sa Radyo Katipunan. Kahit ano sa tungkol sa basketball gilas, NBA bubble. Pero bago tayo mag-start, parang mas gusto ko nang i-focus yung usapan natin sa UAAP, no? Siyempre kasi alam natin 2021 na, sabi natin kanina, naka-isang taon na nga yung pandemic na to. Siyempre, wala pa ring UAAP. Hindi pa rin pwede college tournaments, ganyan. Balik ko muna kay Javi, no? Javi, I know yung college basketball experience mo, different yon. Pero, alam mo ba rin, di ba? You know what it means to represent a university. Kaso lang, hindi ka pwedeng hindi malungkot para sa players ngayon, eh, di ba? Na COVID pa rin. Hindi ka pwede talaga maglaro at all.
Yeah, sobrang hirap, no? Especially right now, talagang walang certainty talaga kung kailan makakabalik ang college sports. Swerte yung mga pro players because they have the tools, they have the logistics to make things happen for them with regards to their respective pro leagues. But with college students kasi, we have to remember that these are students first. That's why they're called student athletes. So that's why the UAP is really prioritizing that student part of the student athlete first before even exploring things with regards to having a bubble. Maybe the NCAA has something in turn, but the UAP really wants to prioritize the academics of the students first because sa regards nga ng IATF, mga bata pa lang ang mga to. These are kids who are aged minsan meron pa mga 16 years old na nasa college na playing for their school teams. So wala talagang kasiguraduhan of how we can really get the college sports to go, especially in this very uncertain times.
Oo nga, Javi, no? Pero, Oping, tingnan mo to, no? Kasi wala tayong UAAP Season 83. So, yung mga first SEM events, tulad ng basketball, pag Season 84 na, more than a year na silang hindi naglalaro. Parang, pag ganun ba, minsan napapaisip ka rin, extend ko ba college career ko o baka mag-pro na? Paano kaya yun, no?
Given sa limited time, no? Kasi yun yung difference as what Javi said earlier na yung student athletes, medyo may chance pa silang mag-antay. Kasi especially to those who are still young. And for those students naman who are graduating, who has the option to go pro, it's actually not a good and bad situation, but it's a matter of parang making a firm decision in that kind of direction that you want to have in your career. Because for me, honestly, parang as long as they still continue to work on their studies and parang ipatuloy pa rin nila yung goal nila makagraduate sa respective schools nila, which is really a priority, just like what Javi said earlier, and to bank on that idea, especially in these uncertain times, since basketball is a contact sports also, so we will never know na kailan magsa-stop. Even yung NBA who has all the logistics and all the resources to make it to a point to make it as a safety environment for the players to play. But given with our situation right now, parang yung COVID kasi hindi natin alam kung saan manggagaling eh. So most likely parang there's really a good chance of maybe postponing or delaying the games, which is also evident in the NBA right now. It's still part of their issue.
Yeah.
So given with that kind of situation, parang sa akin, it's just really a matter of choice where your conviction leads you. As long as the student still continues to pursue his studies, I don't think it's a problem.
Tama, well said, no. Pero Javi, ngayon kasi ang difference, 'di ba nag-iba na yung eligibility rules? Kasi dati alam ko pag UAAP pwedeng isabay pa sa D-League, 'di ba? May ganun eh. Ngayon kasi pag nilagay mo na yung name mo sa sa PBA draft, I think forfeit na kagad yung eligibility mo as UAAP athlete, di ba?
Yeah, that's right. And that's why actually, that's why UP is also in a crossroads right now with the situation of Juan Gomez Del Llano, who played who played in the Chooks to Go 3x3 President's Cup in the Calam Bubble. They're not sure how the UAAP board will handle his legitimacy as an amateur athlete because technically he already played in a pro league. With regards kasi to the players before who played in the D-League, medyo connected pa yun sa schools and they're already certain years under their belt playing for their college schools. So medyo iba talaga yung times ngayon with regards to eligibility and it's really a tough decision for all the athletes because there's no certainty in their college careers, pero if they move forward with their pro careers, baka mas makaarangkada pa sila. So it's really a very tight decision. But like what Oping said kanina, I think maganda na lang be firm on their decision but also prioritize nila na makatapos pa rin sila even if they make that jump to the pros.
Oping, anong magiging advice mo kanila, kunyari, kasi ang some Ateneo players that come to my mind na konti na lang, graduating na, like Will Navarro, Gian Mamuyak, few subjects na lang, graduate na yun eh. Pero, mas may ba ngayon? Parang mas may pressure ba sila na, uy, kailangan ko na mag-pro kasi, di ba, wala, matatagalan bago magbalik ang college sports eh. So, parang, kailangan ba make the decision na or alamin mo kailan ba right time for that?
Oo, kasi for me personally, my own personal opinion lang, given with their situation right now, since yun nga, college career is really parang hazy. And it's really not certain even for pro, but then yun nga yung option nila ngayon. Kasi yun nga, parang since yung pag-aantay nila 1 year, it may also cost them their maybe draft value, you know, player because they're still banking on those parang brand image of them on the past UAAP season, which actually they did really well.
Yeah.
And for me, in my experience, having been able to compete with elite athletes also who are fortunate enough that invested time or maybe their games in the UAP and made it to a point na it's easier for them to jump to the pro because of their names, of their exposure, and I think it's a really good time also to take advantage of it since the situation is fitting to that kind of direction.
Yeah, oo. Tapos Javi, kasi like siguro like sabihin natin noong 2019 lang, ang dami kasing options, 'di ba, outside ng PBA. Alam ni Oping to, may MPBL, may ASEAN League. Pero ngayon kasi parang PBA na lang yung option mo eh. 'Di ba? Ano pa yung league na kaya mag-host ng bubble setup dito sa Southeast Asia? Parang PBA lang eh, 'di ba?
Yeah, that's why it's also very complicated. That's what makes it very complicated because you can always bank on that exposure, that branding image of like what Oping said na kung ano yung pinerform mo last season. But also, what makes it extra complicated is because sa sobrang uncertain ng times ngayon, a lot of the players are thinking of going pro. So dumadami na yung names sa draft.
Yeah.
So technically, mas mahihirapan ka to get drafted. So if you're really confident about your stature in the basketball of the Philippines, then by all means. But yun nga, the decision that makes it more complicated is will you get drafted with the number of players that are already declaring for the draft.
Tsaka medyo stacked pa ngayon yung ikaw, Oping, no? Ano yung best way? Alam ko iba yung syempre back in 2012, 2013, iba yung preparation mo for the draft, pero ngayon siguro paano mo nakikita, kunyari graduating senior ka sa Ateneo, sa UP, tapos gusto mo mag-PBA draft pero ganito yung situation, paano ko kaya best na mape-prepare yung sarili mo para doon sa step na yun?
Actually magandang point siyang i-raise, Anton, because yun din yung experience ko dati way back 2013 na na-delay yung drafting ng PBA, then it gave an option from the parang players graduating on that same year na it was actually parang August yung ano, 'di ba? Yung drafting. And hindi pwede maka-join yung at least UAAP on that period. But then it was moved to November. And nagpa-draft ako thinking na parang at least with that kind of lineup that's being submitted in the roster on that draft year, parang at least may chance ako. And dumating yung time na na-delay siya, and sa akin naman, hindi naman ako type ng player na yun nga, parang masyadong mataas yung exposure nung college, and then may chance yung mga elite players na sumali last minute of that draft day. So we have like maybe 10 or more, maybe 10 to 20 elite players from that year na coming from college, both UAAP and NCAA. So in my case, medyo napasama siya sa timing dahil parang I've been competing with really good players. So on my side, between this parang my point of the student athletes who are parang nagkaroon sila ng name of their own since their previous UAAP season, parang I would really like to take advantage of that given on my experience before.
Right. Tapos, Javi, regardless na kung anong decision ng player, again, like what you said kanina, no, if you're confident in your ability, confident ka sa sa college performance mo, then by all means, sali ka sa draft. Pero maganda yung I brought this up kasi maganda yung sinabi ni Coach Tab Baldwin about this. No? Sabi niya in an interview, I would never stand in a player's way about his career, whatever decision he has. Ateneo will support it, and si Coach Tab parang buo kumpiyansa niya kahit nawala na si Ferdy, wala na yung Nieto Twins, Isaac Go, Adrian Wong. Sige lang, support lang. If you feel na you're ready for PBA, then sige lang, go lang, di ba?
I think that's a really good thing that Coach Tab said. It's also similar to what Coach JB Bigger's staff with regards to the Kevin Porter Jr. incident. He said that, as coaches, we're only there to be fathers of these players. No, they want to look out for the best for their players. They don't want to stop them. They only want to see them grow, not just as players but also as individuals as well. That's why Coach Tab is really very caring about his players, and that's really the right thing to do as a coach. No, if your player wants to turn pro, then but mo siya pipigilan, diba? Why will you stop him just because you want him on your lineup? That's really not a good thing, not only as a coach but also as a person.
Yeah, true. Well said, no, Javi. Tapos, on that note, gusto ko lang malaman, sino yung nandun ba? Whether it's si Coach Norman ba, Coach Sandy, yung nag-advise sa'yo, nag-guide sa'yo nung sabi mo na, okay, sasali na ako sa draft. Sino yung nilapitan mo dun para i-mentor ka?
Actually, I really like to take things on my own. So, I really don't have much mentors. I really do appreciate all the advices. Parang, I really didn't reach out to anybody. Maybe that's the one, maybe it's not really a mistake, no, pero if parang babalikan ko lang din yung time na yun, I really have no regrets because I did everything that I can. I trained and I prepared myself really well, and it's just so happened that parang I wasn't able to get that contract on that year. But that doesn't mean that I stopped working or my dreams were shattered and everything. But then I still have the chance to get back and work on my flaws and everything. So parang based on my personality na siya Anton, na parang gusto ko lang gawin lahat parang on my own.
Yeah.
So, yeah, ganun siya.
So kumbaga parang self-starter ka na no? Parang independent thinker na
Oo, ganun yung nangyari.
Pero good yun kasi, I mean, di ba yung parang proof na yun ng maturity, nag 5 feet kayo nila Nico Salva. So parang at the back of your mind, parang parang I've done my work, di ba? So time to take it to the next level na.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Tapos I think that's a good, yung career move, career decision on your part. Pero eto Javi, speaking of making wise career decisions, two NBA players have not been making wise career decisions. Kasi yung biggest stories para sa akin ng first month of the NBA season have been off the court, not on the court. Okay? On the court kasi alam naman natin, LA pa rin yan. Ganun. Pero, okay. These are heavy favorite natin silang pag-usapan kasi these are the two biggest divas. Hindi superstar, diva that we've ever heard of. We're talking about, of course, James Harden and Kyrie Irving. Avi, naalala mo yung speech ni di ba? Naalala mo yung speech ni Allen Iverson, yung practice, we're talking about practice. Tapos,
was misconstrued.
di ba? And then, speech pa ni T-Mac, 2008, nung natatalo sila ng Jazz in the playoffs. Di ba? Sabi ni T-Mac, I'm sorry, it's my fault. Di ba? Blame it on me. May ganun pang drama si T-Mac nun. Pero ngayon, Javi, James, the Beard Harden. Alright? So, backtrack tayo konti. Natalo yung Rockets, 117-100 sa Lakers. Press conference. James Harden, anong unang sentence na sinabi niya? We're just not good enough. Chemistry, talent-wise, just everything. We're not good enough. Javi, pag ganun, honest reaction, masasapak mo teammate mo, no? Pag ganun.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because really growing up, before I got into UP, I was, I never really had to come around the culture of losing. Sorry to say, but yun nga, from when I was growing up as a player until I got into FEU, where we won the first championship of FEU in 25 years, I was really all around winners. And for a teammate of mine to say that really isn't a sign of a winning player. That isn't a sign of a winning mentality. So definitely, masasapak ko talaga yung teammate ko na yun. And when somebody is not on the same page, isang tao lang sa 15-man roster nyo that isn't on the same page, malalagot ka na talaga. And that's what John Wall said. He knows how hard they work day in, day out. And when James Harden said that, he really had enough of it also. And I think this James Harden trade going to Brooklyn boded well for both teams, for all parties involved, may I say, because right now James Harden is playing MVP caliber basketball again, and the body language makikita mo compared to his first few games in Houston this season was really different. Sobrang nagaganahan siya maglaro ngayon. He's really liking the team environment he's in right now as opposed to when he was in Houston this first few games of the season. Talagang parang napipilitan lang talaga siya maglaro. You can see that. If you're a player, you can see that. Warm-up pa lang, makita mo tinatamad na. No matter how good you are, if you're not into it, then it's just not gonna happen.
Kuping, pagsubukan mong sabihin yan sa press con sa harap ni Coach Norman dati. Siguro kung ano na nangyari sa yung career mo. Pero James Harden ba for you, Oping? Alam natin, super scorer, 'di ba? MVP, ilang scoring titles. Pero ever ba na-consider mo siya as a winning player?
In my personal opinion, just to take things in a different perspective, I saw James Harden as a really championship caliber player. Parang yun nga lang, minsan parang i-consider mo yung maraming factors din, like yung mga teammates din na meron siya, yung system, ganyan. Tapos, although he's scoring a lot, and then he's just not winning at all. So, for me, it says a lot to a player, especially if you're a leader in the team. And parang there are actually players who are not as good or not as talented, but their leadership skills and, the type of people that they are to their teammates, really makes a big impact. Parang hindi lang siya all about basketball. We can actually see the likes of parang previous first team na parang ang daming players na parang biglang gumagaling, ganyan, because of parang environment din, parang sabi ni Javi, and it actually brings out the best in you if your environment, your teammates, your coaches are conducive for learning and for parang open to parang objections or conflicts na parang healthy competition. And so I think James Harden lacks that kind of parang leadership in a way, because basketball wise, as in maraming players na as in walang makakapigil sa kanya, as in siya yung unstoppable player, one-on-one player, parang scoring machine, ganun. Pero when it comes to leadership, maybe he'll prove me wrong in this season because he has Kevin Durant already in his team right now. And parang to back that off, I think he actually reunited with his former coach from Houston, right? Coach D'Antoni, Brooklyn Nets. So I think in that aspect, pagaya nga nung sinabi ni Javi kanina, na you can see a player when he's really enjoying playing, di ba? Parang palaki din sa player yun, Anton. Especially doon sa part na parang motivated ka to go to work, and it actually applies to everybody, no, whether if you're a student, if you're a parang normal, employee. It actually parang helps you a lot when you parang yun nga, parang you're being surrounded with just so much enthusiasm, not only about people but then just within your surroundings in general.
Yeah, tama no. Pero yung pag tingnan natin tong James Harden and yung situation niya with Houston, buti na lang it's over. Pero parang dito mo nakikita yung NBA, it's parang 2K, my league na siya, 'di ba? Parang kahit sino, gusto ko pumunta doon doon, 'di ba? I want out, out. Tapos 'di ba parang unless LeBron James ka. No other player should have yung parang influence over an entire franchise, di ba? Parang si Harden, pinayagan lang na gusto mo mag-party na walang mask sa gentleman's club, okay lang, sige lang, di ba? Ayaw mo si CP3, alisin natin, balit natin si Russ. Di ba parang, minsan ba do you think about yung that era of, I'm talking about sila Kobe, Tim Duncan, Dirk, kahit si Steph Curry, 12 years in Golden State, di ba parang bihira na lang yung ganun na superstar eh.
Yeah, I think, that kind of situation, pwede natin ihambing sa, people right now being entitled, feeling entitled, and I think it's also because of the dawn of social media. People want everything so fast. Hindi na natin, like, what the players right now in the NBA, kampihan na lang kung sino lang yung malakas. They don't want to stick it out anymore with their mother teams, the teams that drafted them. Gusto nila pumunta dun sa kung saan contender na agad. And it was really different in Kobe's era, Tim Duncan's era, Dirk's era, where they just really stuck it out. They got to work, they let their play do the talking, and by doing so, yung players that gusto manalo, sila na yung na-attract nila. Hindi na yung sila mismo yung lilipat sa ibang teams para lang manalo ng championship. And I think, we can't blame them also, but I think there's also some sort of thing that can be learned about here in the previous era that, sometimes you just really have to put in the work. Good things take time, great things take even longer time. So I think that's just what really needs to matter here now. You really have to stick it out sometimes. It's not all about winning right away. Winning doesn't come easy. So, yun lang talaga.
Si Oping, alam na alam yun. 5 feet, di ba? Yung culture na gano'n.
Yeah, but di ba before that, hindi naman sila, they had to do a series of upsets also, di ba, before making that 5 feet.
Pero ito Oping, was si James Harden ba? Would you ever, yung entire stint niya sa Houston, could we consider him as a franchise player? Kasi, nung OKC, 2012, balikan natin to nung pumunta silang finals against LeBron, 6th man siya ng OKC, di ba? Manu Ginobili role siya eh. Tapos Houston, pinair siya with Dwight Howard, didn't win. Pinair siya with CP3, didn't win. Russell Westbrook, didn't win. So, was James Harden the problem ba? Or, ikaw, what do you think about it?
Honestly, medyo mahirap sa na-question, no? Kasi may bias din ako kay James Harden. Kasi I really like the way how he plays. Kasi parang despite na sa mga issues yung nangyayari sa kanya, parang from being a 6th man from the bench, no? Off the bench, and then turning into a superstar, it actually tells a lot of a player also. He made a statement that he can be a leader in his own right? So for me, parang he actually didn't just, said it, but then he actually showed it in the entire world that he can actually play. And he brought Houston na before he came in, I think maybe mga ilang playoffs din na drought na nagkaroon na experience yung di ba, yung Houston. Tapos nung pagpunta niya doon, parang binago niya lahat. That's why Houston Rockets is where it is right now. And James Harden also provided that kind of parang influence to the NBA na there's a type of player just like him na parang he actually stands out.
Yeah.
Despite all those rumors and bad media about him, parang it's really difficult if you're the leader or parang one of the top players in a team because all eyes are on you. So whether it would be parang good or bad publicity, parang people will just have the freedom, especially nga parang sabi, parang the age that we have right now, the social media and everything, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, people are just so easy to criticize without having seen the hardships and parang hard work that the players put in and day out. So for me, I as a player, because I can actually understand his sentiment, no, and the responsibility that he has to carry for his team. And we can actually look at it in different factors also, like maybe he's playing also against parang good teams, better than their teams, parang so mga ganong klaseng bagay na kailangan din natin i-consider, hindi lang yung kumbaga i-center natin yung focus kay James Harden din.
Right. No, marami nga, parang maraming factors around one certain issue, di ba? Pero Javi, so tapos na yung James Harden chapter in Houston. How will we remember this? Siguro like 20, 30 years later, are we gonna remember Harden na parang Iverson, T-Mac na super scorers, pero wala, couldn't win, 'di ba? MVP, scoring title, everything, pero wala, in the end, no rings. Ikaw, how do you see history remembering James Harden in Houston?
Well, definitely, he's gonna go down as one of the greatest scorers this game has ever seen. He transcended that Mike D'Antoni offense in a very different way, and he really evolved as a player, being that sixth man from OKC to really being the face of the Houston franchise, carrying that team to multiple playoff appearances. You know, it just really wasn't enough in the end, but we really saw his growth as a player, and it will really go down as one of the best scorers in history of the game. And you know, we can see it in a better light naman na maybe this exodus to Brooklyn is this parang light bulb moment na, hey, you know, I'm done with all the stats. I don't care about that anymore. I just really want to plainly win. And I think this happened when LeBron went to Miami. You know, I don't care being the face of the franchise. I just want to win championships, and I think this is what James Harden is experiencing right now. And I think it's the same also with Kyrie and KD. They want to win championships now.
So we'll see about that. James Harden and KD, solid in their opening performance against Orlando. Pero we turn the focus now to their other Brooklyn teammate, Kyrie Irving. Listahan lang ng events Oping, last year, si Kyrie, nag-play ng GM daw, kunwari. January 2020. Anong sabi niya? I feel like we have great pieces. We just need to find guys who will complement me, KD, DeAndre Jordan, Spencer Dinwiddie, Caris LeVert. Parang, may imagine mo ba kung, kunyari si Nico Salva, sinabi niya sa press, nung 5 feet ninyo, ang kailangan ko lang naman dito sila Poy, sila Oping, sila Justin Chua. Yung iba, okay. Di ba parang pag single out mo yung ibang teammates mo, ikaw, ano mararamdaman mo kung teammate mo yun?
Okay, dalawa yung perspective kasi pwede kong tingnan eh. Kasi in a Filipino's culture, kasi syempre ma-hurt ka, di ba? Kasi medyo straightforward yung pagkasabi, parang we'll take it personally, but in a sense maybe sa US or parang it's actually parang normal for them to say things as it is, right?
Yeah.
So pero in a team dynamics medyo medyo off siya para sa akin, kasi nga parang you discount the other players, no, na parang parang hindi nagmamatter yung contribution nila no matter how small it is. And for me, I in a way, I as a Filipino, I take it personally again. Kasi I've been through those parang bench players na we also work hard. In practice, we help the first team guys, the second team guys to get better, and we don't really get much credit for it, and it's okay. But then if your parang teammate and one of the team captains of your team would say deliberately in front of your face na ganito ganyan, parang medyo off siya para sa akin. Kasi nga when you talk about teamwork, parang it actually comes from the leader, right? It comes first yung leadership na nagkakaroon siya. No matter how maybe this difficult the situation is, no matter how weak your team is, you just have to find a way to win.
Yeah.
If it's the kind of leader that you are.
Yeah.
So for me, parang medyo yun, parang kaya siya nag-cost or nag-steer ng issue about that.
Yeah, tama. Tapos fast forward October 2020. So hired na si Steve Nash by this time, 'di ba? Hired na si Steve Nash, coach ng Brooklyn. So Kyrie punta siya sa podcast ni KD. Tapos ang sinabi niya, I don't see us having a head coach. KD can be a head coach. I can be a head coach. I mean, Steve Nash is the ultimate team player. Pag sabi mo team player, Steve Nash. Diba? Tapos here comes Kyrie talking about Steve Nash in that way. Hindi ba parang, I mean, may challenging authority na yun eh, di ba?
I like what I told my friend. We were talking about Kyrie earlier today. Sabi ko, pare, Kyrie is definitely an acquired taste. Either you love him or you hate him. Because, I mean, for all his antics, for all his tactless remarks, guy has a heart. And, you can't hate a guy like that so easily. But then again, there is some things talaga that he would have done better in my perspective regarding this whole situation. That thing, he could have said things better. He could have not said things at all. And he just could have respected the situation they were in Brooklyn. Steve Nash being their head coach, that you can't deny that there's still going to be a hierarchy wherever you go, and you have to respect that. And he's the player, Steve Nash is the coach. So really offer me what he did. But let's hope that this time off has got him to think about things. And that press con that he had earlier today or maybe yesterday was very encouraging, because he said that he was going to be accountable for these things, and that he was already making conversation with his teammates, and that's a step in the right direction for the Brooklyn Nets if they really want to compete for the NBA championship this season.
Well, Steve Nash was interviewed about this. Parang ang sabi niya, during Kyrie's unexcused absence, may ganun, parang pasaway lang na employee, unexcused absence. Sabi niya, we'll keep it private. If Kyrie does his thing, kami, well, we're still here, we'll keep working, Pero ito yung naging problema. Ito, January 2021. Kyrie, so sabi niya, I'll be excused for personal reasons, ganyan, family reasons. Tapos he's willing to sit out daw kasi parang dahil sa mga social issues na nangyayari ngayon sa States. Pero ang nangyari pala, nag-party siya, mask off, dun sa 30th birthday ng sister niya, and then he was fined $50,000. That's, I mean, for violating yung COVID protocol. Oping, ano yung alam mong fine, PBA, ASEAN League, for unexcused absence? Yung pinaka sobrang grabe na fine.
Actually, 50,000 din, pero pesos.
Yun na yun, mabigat na yun.
Malaki na nga yun. Actually, malaki na.
$5.
So, actually, yun nga, parang when we talk about Kyrie's behavior, I'm not really sure what's really going on with his life right now. But then, just parang being in a situation like this, na there are all uncertainties and anxieties all over or all around the corner. Parang it's just so hard to manage. Even managing yourself is really difficult. Parang really takes toll on a person's mind to really contain his thoughts. Especially parang siguro yun nga, parang yung incident siguro ng bubble or parang na-carry over pa yun, because I came across one of the parang interviews of a sports psychologist, na si Mama Risa Ginto. Actually sa Ateneo din siya, sports psychologist siya. Tapos nakita ko lang siya sa news and it's really interesting na even parang it's just hindi ko naman sinasabi na may definite research na about it because since it's really so parang early pa to really talk about it, no, parang but aside sa yung mga athletes na hindi makapag-basketball, it na equivalent siya to losing a person in their life.
Wow.
Yes, actually I was surprised because I actually felt the same thing. Maybe a few months when the pandemic happened. Parang sobrang constrained ka and everything and life of a athlete or a basketball player is really different because you used to really have an active, lifestyle, parang gusto mo mag-workout and everything and she also mentioned the parang although it's PBA and parang i-relate ko na lang din siguro maybe it somehow contributes to parang sports general who in general who tries to continue the events through bubble leagues, right? Parang feeling ko yun lang din sa akin. Parang hindi lang naman si Kyrie siguro yung nagkaroon ng ganyang issue sa teams. Maybe there are also teams na parang may mga players na ganun yung na napagdaanan ng mga players. Pero si Kyrie lang yung kasi siya yung superstar eh. Just like what I na pag superstar ka, medyo maraming parang mata nandun sa'yo, di ba? So, in a way, medyo kasi since yun nga, parang basketball or NBA is a business also, you really have to perform because you're actually paid for, for your job and everything. So, parang hindi siya naka-commit dun sa responsibility niya as a player sa team niya. Yun nga, parang actually mahirap siya actually i-manage in that sense.
Yeah.
Personal, alam mo yun, personal na bagay na kasi siya eh. Parang hindi mo na makokontrol yun if you're the manager of the team. Diba?
Oo, tama. Pero good point, no, Ping? Kasi parang tayo, as fans, parang pag nakita natin, all-star ka naman, 28 points per game, wala ka namang problema sa buhay eh. Pero you don't know kung, alam ko medyo parang nawiwirdohan tayo sa ginagawa niya, pero we hope na he's okay. Okay dito, 'di ba? Yun lang. Pero Javi ngayon so Kyrie sobrang malaking question mark. Pero I'm like 99.9% sure na matitrade yan. Pero will he still have any takers? Kasi sobrang baba ng trade value niya ngayon, as in sobra.
I beg to differ though. I don't think Brooklyn will trade him because I think really they really have something special going on here, and the fact that Kyrie handled his press con in his return so well, I think it was a good sign for the Brooklyn Nets team, and his relationship with KD and James is really looks good so far. So I think we're just gonna have to wait for that to translate on the court. But I think these things talaga that he's going through right now, I think the management was mature enough and was really very understanding and extra patient to be able to understand what he wanted to do off the court. But they're really very recognizable of his talent and what he brings to the table with regards to basketball. So I don't think that they'll trade him right away. I think pretty much if they're going to trade him, they're going to have to wait until next season for it to happen. But I think that what they built here, di nila sasayangin to. It's not every time you come across a big three, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, KD, three of the biggest names in NBA in the NBA right now. So I don't think you could just i-chukwera mo yan just because of his just because of games missed because of personal reasons, because for the way that they were already projecting to the media that they were very understanding and very patient with him, it was already a sign that they're in it for the long haul.
So with this okay, so if Kyrie stays, James Harden and KD, isa lang ibig sabihin yan, title or bust for Brooklyn. Di ba? Gina lang eh. Gina lang eh.
Definitely.
Di ba?
They don't have any excuse anymore. Title or bust. I mean, looking at the way that people say na kulang isang bola, again, back to what I was saying kanina, I think these three guys are very locked in on just winning and very just mature about, letting themselves play on the court na tipong, okay, James, ikaw na. KD, ikaw na. Kyrie, ikaw na. And that's what we were seeing early on with how KD and James were running the show for Brooklyn. And I think it's going to be the same when Kyrie goes on the court. I think, just themselves going on and having that winning mentality and being locked in on winning that championship. I think that's enough for us to say na these guys can go far if maganda yung performance nila.
Right. Yun lang yung if, no? Pero ikaw, Oping, prediction para sa Big Free ng Brooklyn. East Finals, first round, finals?
Okay, assuming that Kyrie's on the healthy side, no, everybody's on the healthy side mentally, physically, and given that they're all playing really well, just like what KD and James Harden's doing right now, and then to add that into equation, Kyrie Irving, who's averaging maybe 20 points and maybe almost double-double with his assist, right? So, yung prediction ko, abot sila ng conference finals.
Okay. Pwede na yun. East Finals versus, I don't know, Boston, Milwaukee. Tingnan natin yan. Pero, okay, before we end, kasi may time pa naman tayo, there has been one name, no? I know James Harden happened, yung Kyrie Irving situation, wait and see. Pero there has been one name in NBA circles na on one side sinasabi, don't trade him, may pag-asa pa. Yung iba naman na fans, media, sinasabi, please trade this guy kasi nasasayang yung 50-point explosions niya sa Washington. It's none other than Bradley Beal, who has been putting up crazy numbers sa Washington. Pero ito lang Javi, Oping, meron akong mga napulot na possible trade scenarios for Bradley Beal. Ang sasagutin niyo lang, buy or sell. Just tell me why, kung bakit buy or sell.
Sige.
So first, Javi, ikaw. Brad Beal to the Philadelphia 76ers for Ben Simmons, Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, plus 2 first rounders. Buy or sell?
Sell.
Ben Simmons is a legit legit young piece yun
Yeah, but on the perspective of the Philadelphia 76ers, talo sila doon. Washington will definitely be a winner in that trade. But for Philadelphia, losing Ben Simmons, I know that he's been struggling early on this season, but I don't think that's a good trade if they really want to go far in the playoffs. They have to stick it out with Ben Simmons because that partnership with Joel Embiid, they have to stick that out. Kaya nila yan. I still believe that it can happen.
Wow, after ilang straight na playoff exit na ba yan? 3?
But including kasi Tyrese Maxey in that deal, I don't think na magandang deal yan for the 76ers. Panalo definitely in Washington ngayon yan if they will include Tyrese Maxey in that trade because Tyrese Maxey has been playing spectacular basketball. But then it's a piece that would be so lost for Philadelphia if they trade them away to Washington.
Ikaw, Oping, buy or sell ka dun?
I think buy, para maiba naman. Kay Javi. Buy, because parang Bradley Beal is a really good player and it's a compliment to have maybe Joel Embiid and other players on that, diba? Kasi parang isa din sa mga kulang ng Philadelphia yun yung parang consistent scorer. I know Ben Simmons can really score, but then he's more of a facilitator than a scorer, diba? And his outside shooting really has to improve. So, with Bradley Beal in the piece of that lineup, parang it's actually a really good parang addition to the Philadelphia 76ers.
Okay, sige. So, hindi kayo mag-agree dun sa first. Paano naman to? Oping, ikaw naman. Brad Beal, ito daw yung pinaka-hot na rumor ngayon. Brad Beal to Miami para magpumasok yung salary, Andre Iguodala, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Precious Achiuwa, plus 2 first rounders. Buy or sell, Oping?
Wow. Okay, buy again. Whatever team you're gonna put Bradley Beal, I'm sure he's gonna perform. And for Miami, kasi I'm saying buy because parang in a perspective of Miami. Kasi parang yun nga, parang you have tawag dito, Jimmy Butler and all those guys. And parang Andre Iguodala, I know he has a leadership capabilities in his resume, pero with his age, maybe it's a liability to the team already. And for Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, I hate to see those guys go away out of Miami, but then if you're gonna trade them for Bradley Beal, I think Bradley Beal is gonna be able to, fill that kind of gap that the Miami needs to have moving forward in their season.
Ang problema kay Oping pag GM to, Habi, ng NBA, buy ng buy, mauubusan ng pera yung team eh. Buy ng buy eh, walang...
Kasi si Bradley Beal, so...
Ako naman siya, actually, may point naman siya. Kasi buy rin ako dun.
Okay.
Buy rin ako dun. Because, yeah, you'd hate to see Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero go away. But if you're gonna trade away for someone like a Bradley Beal, a really all-around basketball scorer, that really complements Jimmy Butler's game. Because, Jimmy Butler can do all his work inside, and Bradley Beal can take care of the perimeter game. And it's really good that Bradley Beal will be able to be surrounded by a culture such as the Miami Heat. A culture of winning, a long culture of winning and culture of championships talaga. And if he really wants to take one step closer to winning that NBA chip, it's gonna be with a team like Miami.
Kung ako yung chief financial officer, Oping, sasabihin ko, tama na. Sell. Stop.
You really have to spend. In basketball, you really have to spend a lot if you really want. That's just how it is. Because
it's a business after all.
Oo, kasi yun nga eh. Parang it's a long shot, no? Parang meron namang teams na successful na parang they get parang ano tawag dito, parang underpaid and then overqualified guys, right? Pero bihira lang yun. Compare sa mga teams na like Lakers or alam mo yun, Boston, who really has the capabilities of getting all those parang superstars in one team. Why not? If you have the funds, then use it. If you have it, then you develop your players.
Kaya
Ano mo naman ba talaga yung pera kung di mo gamitin?
Oo, di ba?
kaya nag-MBA si Oping eh, para malaman niya yung mga bagay na ganyan. Bago tayo matapos, Javi, Oping, Javi, ang sasabihin mo lang, contender or pretender. Start tayo sa Eastern Conference, top 8 teams. Yun lang, contender or pretender. Let's start with number 8, Atlanta Hawks.
Pretender.
Number 7 seed, Cleveland Cavaliers.
Pretender.
Number 6 seed, New York Knicks.
Oh, number 6 seed sila.
Number 6 seed, New York Knicks.
Are you pretender? They're not getting over the hump yet.
Number 5 seed.
Still far away.
Okay, number 5 seed,
Still far away.
Number 5 seed, Brooklyn Nets.
Contender.
Number 4 seed, Indiana Pacers.
Pretender.
Number 3 seed, Philadelphia 76ers.
Sorry, pretender.
Ooh. Number 2 seed, Milwaukee Bucks.
Contender.
Number 1 seed, Boston Celtics.
Contender.
Okay. Ito, Oping, West naman tayo bago matapos.
Okay,
Number 8 seed, Memphis Grizzlies.
Memphis Grizzlies, contender.
Number 7 seed, Golden State Warriors.
Contender.
Number 6 seed,
Ako na-
Portland Trail Blazers.
Oh, definitely contender.
Lahat yata contender, binabay mo na naman ito lahat.
Gusto lang yung underdogs, bro. Kasi parang feeling ko with Ja Morant, in this team and Portland with Damian Lillard, parang meron talagang chance eh.
Okay. Eto, number 5 seed. Ayusin mo to ha. Favorite ko to. San Antonio Spurs.
Okay, pretender, bro.
Ay, sobra naman. Ala.
But that is
Sabing-
true.
Alam ko maraming viewers natin na hindi mag-agree sa akin, bro. That's just the Sorry, guys.
Wag na nga. Delete na to, delete. Sabi ko, ayusin eh. Number 4 seed, Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix Suns with Chris Paul, I say contender.
Chris Paul lang ang pinagkaiba, contender ka. Number 3 seed, LA Clippers.
Contender.
Number 2 seed, Utah Jazz.
Contender.
Ito, number 1, corny, LA Lakers.
Siyempre, pag sinabi mong pretender pa yan, ewan ko na lang.
Oh, yun nga eh.
Ang daming papatayin sa akin.
Madami ka ma-receive na hate messages. Okay.
Grabe yung Lakers, as in, lakas pa.
Ay, nako. So, obviously, Oping, contender. No?
Contender.
Okay, so I think dyan magtatapos ang ating hoop talk for this afternoon once again. Thank you so much, Javi Pelania from the Maroon side of things. And of course, ang aking rest back ngayong araw na to, Oping Sumalinog ng ating 5-time champs sa Ateneo Blue Eagles. Thank you so much for joining us over here. Bago tayo magtapos, Javi, greeting, shoutouts muna.
I just wanna give a shout out to my happy weekend barkada. I think some of them are watching right now. And my family, hello.
Ayan, sige. Oping, mga gustong batiin, go ahead.
Sa akin lang si Prof. Tony kasi namimiss ko na rin siya.
Yeah.
Tapos yung family ko rin, especially my mom and dad, tapos si mga kuya ko si Kulot Mikmik, and yung nephew ko si Apollo, and yung sister ko sa state si Joanna, and to all of my friends from Ateneo, of course, from Don Bosco in Cebu, and of course my new cohorts in AI